Hey, how's it going? It's Keith Townsend, principal of the CTO Advisor. Who's Intel's customer? Today is Pat Gelsinger's first full business day as CEO of Intel. He's coming from VMware, who had a very different customer than Intel's customer. Well, what do I mean by that? Well, Intel's customer, the entities that writes a check to Intel, and Intel ships processors, network cards, etc. to directly are typically OEMs, distributors, and cloud providers. And Intel meets with those customers regularly, talking about their needs from a cloud provider's perspective. What do they need and SKUs to provide the right balance of CPU processing power versus power usage versus network bandwidth, I/O bandwidth, etc. Intel customizes to these individual markets versus VMware's customer. VMware takes software and abstracts cloud infrastructure or creates cloud infrastructure. So some of VMware's customers will be Intel's customers, but mostly in VMware talked to folks like me and many of you watching the CTO Dose. They talked to data center operators, developers more recently, and cloud providers, talking about building services and providing services from the separate parts of IT infrastructure. How does that resonate with you when you think about the Intel brand? When you think about Intel, do you think about engaging Intel directly in some of these complex conversations? Intel has a big push around AI and being able to use Xeon processors, Optane storage, Intel Ethernet, Intel networking, Intel security to ingest more and more data so you can use your Intel processors to analyze that data. Are you having direct conversations with the Intels of the world, or are you having these conversations with IBM, VMware, Dell Technologies, HPE, AWS, etc.? Pat, I think, changes the focus of Intel slightly. Pat has spent the last 7 years talking to the people trying to use AI to make business decisions. People implementing SAP HANA on top of Intel Optane storage and Intel persistent memory and Intel Xeon processors and Intel networking and I/O services. People who are actually running into the problems, needing to make decisions on should they go all AMD because AMD has better speeds and feeds from a processor perspective. Should they go with ARM because ARM has a better power to performance ratio than any of the x86 solutions? This has been, I think, Intel's core problem beyond the fabrication issues and production issues they've had getting to the 7 nanometer process. I think for most customers, Intel Xeon processors performance is good enough. What customers need is a way to solve their business problems. And Intel has, I think, for the most part, failed to get into the conversation talking about how their 5 pillars, that we talked about, the network I/O and storage and PMEM and all these other components that Intel has built around Xeon, which are compelling stories, are not reaching the ears of the people needing to make purchasing and design decisions. I'm hoping that Pat changes that conversation so that Intel can be successful. And you know what? I think the industry needs a successful Intel, but I think more importantly, so that customers have a second kind of voice in their ear outside of just the cloud providers, just outside of just the OEMs building solutions. I think Intel has a very unique idea and approach to distributed systems, and it's worth hearing and consider. Maybe you decide to go with AMD or ARM at the end of the day, but I think a more engaged Intel is a better educated buyer, and a better educated buyer ends with better IT solutions and technology solutions which solve business challenges, which is the whole point of this. What do you think? Do you think Pat is the catalyst needed to change Intel's outlook and relationship with technology consumers? Or is Intel too far behind and they just need to fix their fab processes? Or is it a balance? Let me know in the comment section below. Until the next CTO Dose, you can follow me on the web. TheCTOadvisor.com is the website, which you can contact us directly, or you can reach out to me on Twitter at CTO Advisor on Twitter. Talk to you next CTO Dose.